Good evening, everybody. Very interesting session, I must say. First time I'm participating in it. So I represent Spencer's Retail and Nature's Basket. Spencer's, as you all may have heard, is a hypermarket. We have around 157 stores in the country. And Nature's Basket is the gourmet retailer, which is around 35 stores in the country. So we are now post-COVID back to our expansion plans as well. And to be very specific, if I have to talk about Spencer's per se, what we look at is something around 10 to 15,000 of square feet of space, carpet area, or maybe even a little more than that. But obviously it's not as high or as large as what it used to be in the past, right? And pretty specific expansion plans. We're looking at the north of the country in NCR, in UP. Then we're looking at the east, which is our base, so West Bengal and other parts of Bengal. And then we're looking at south, which is Andhra Pradesh and Telangana and a few parts of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. So that's in a way what Spencer's is. We're looking at malls, single floor plates, or 2 levels, or even high street stores. We have around a good mix of 60 to 40, 60% malls, 40% high street. And going forward, that's the kind of breakup we look at from a Spencer's standpoint. Not very, very specific on what type of malls we want to go because we have different formats of Spencer's Hyper as well. So open to discussion. As far as commercials is concerned, won't go into details on commercials because that's pretty obvious. We obviously want to begin with revenue shares and then look at year on year on how we can grow and start giving, a minimum guarantee kind of a deal, right? So that's as far as Spencer's is concerned. As far as the other brand, Nature's Basket, is concerned, as most of you may know, we bought the brand from Godrej in 2019. We have around 35 stores in the country. Very specific expansion plans for Nature's Basket. We have 22 stores in Bombay, 2 in Pune, 8 in Bangalore. We've just re-entered NCR. We have 3 stores, and we have 2 stores in Calcutta. So only these 5 cities, very specific and thought about expansion plans here. We will look at expanding in these 5 cities as of now. Probably open nearly, let's say, 4 to 5 stores every year. And again, we're actually more skewed towards high street than malls. So most of our stores are actually on high street. And when we're looking at malls, right, we're again very specific, 4 to 5,000 square feet of carpet area, ground floor. If we can get a right in the front entrance, that probably is the most ideal way of looking at it. Again, it's something that every retailer wants, right? Rajnish is actually smiling at me saying, yeah, I mean, you can list down all that you want, but eventually we'll give you what we can. And eventually you ask for the gold mine, then you have to pay gold for it.
So humbled you said what we can and not what we wish. You're choosing what can gives us a lot of comfort.
I am pretty realistic that way, Rajnish. Yeah, so we've been working for nearly 15 years, so I choose my words when I say it, right? So yeah, I think it's a brand that we're really proud of. It's an experienced brand, and definitely looking at partnerships in these 5 cities as far as Nature's is concerned. But for Spencer's, we're looking at a few more cities where we are present. So that's it from my side. Happy to take questions right now or maybe later.
No, we can do it simultaneously, I think, with each retailer. Anything from you guys?
So how is your online and deliveries to store is spanning out, and what is the change it is bringing into your business model?
So definitely, Rajnish, post-COVID, things have changed and people have moved online. But I think one thing we're seeing is people still want to come back to the stores, experience that service standards, experience the look and feel, come and touch the product. And especially for gourmet retail, that is extremely important. That's something we've seen in Spencer's as well. So there is a marginal shift where people have moved to online. They do want to access us online or maybe some other player where convenience is faster. Convenience is the most important thing. It hasn't dented us in a very big way, if I may say so. But definitely there is a shift that's taken place.
How are you adopting it? Are you started?
So we are, we have done our bit on improving our online space, our presence online, our app, our website. So that is an ongoing thing. While our main business is brick and mortar, right? That's what we stand for. But we also need to, in a way, move towards the online space because customers are wanting to, in a way, experience us in the online manner as well. So we are looking at, shifting a certain percentage and improving our online space than what it used to be before. So definitely.
So consider a large mall, like we have a 1 million square feet mall, and we have Lulu as a hypermarket who's occupying 100,000 square feet. So what value addition will you bring on the table when such a large player like Lulu, if you have seen Lulu, new hypermarkets that they have opened, because this is going to be repeating to some extent. How is the differentiation going to hold good for customers' point of view?
Could you repeat that last point?
How do you think it will hold good from a customer's value proposition?
Absolutely. So see, if you look at the Spencer's journey across the years, Ali, it's been a moving journey. Even today we have stores which are 60,000 square feet, single floor plate. Even today we have stores which are 50,000 square feet, single floor plate.
My question was, if I have a mall where I have a Lulu hypermarket, a 1 million square feet mall with 100,000 square feet of Lulu, do I still consider Godrej Nature's Basket in that mall as an additional concept? Will it add value?
So, okay, I thought you were talking from a Spencer standpoint.
To coexist along with the big hyper.
Yeah, I think it can coexist because let's say 30 to 40% of the merchandise could be similar to what maybe a Lulu is selling or some other hyper who also focuses on gourmet is selling. But we do have that niche audience who probably prefers to come to our Nature's, right? And thus, I personally feel a hyper and a gourmet can coexist in a mall together. That's my personal view.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Happy.
Thank you. Please have a seat. So now that we have, as I mentioned, we were all early, a little bit early. Let me just introduce and get everybody on stage now when we have everybody here. Why don't we start with Abhishek first? Abhishek from INOX. One round, come on guys. A little bit of excitement. Vivek. Akash. Vivek from Aditya Birla. Akash from Jubilant Foods. Preeti from Raymond's. Meera we already have. Indranil from Momo's. Tarun. Aditya Birla, Pantaloons and whole host of bands. Deepthi, founder of Salt Attire. And Jivika from Astai. One second. And I'm blanking out. Devesh, I'm blanking out here. Devesh, please come on stage on Max. Sorry. That is me, always. Sorry about that. And now to introduce all my developers in the panel, we've got Rajneesh from Inorbit. Stand up, one bow. Rajneesh, one. Hello to everybody. Sorry. We've got Rajneesh, we've got Shibu from Lulu, we've got Jatin from Omax, we've got Ali from Prestige, and we've got Abhishek from Pacific. Over to all of them. Sorry? Sorry, Abhishek. You are sitting behind. Sorry, Abhishek. Sorry, to Abhishek. Why did you come here? Abhishek, come this side here. Sorry, my bad on that one. So, where do we start from now? Tarun, you want to come on stage and start from there? Why don't you go next? A mic. It's on.
I would request Vivek to join me. He's from the same organization. Since we are going to win our spaces in the most beautiful malls, so I would request my partner here. So, I must thank Abhishek, Mr. Ali, Shibu, Abhishek, Rajneesh, and Abhishek again. Thank you very much. Here we come. I think what I should specify the relationship between a mall developer and a retail partner. Do we have somebody, some female partner who has a chudi and then kada here by any chance? Okay. Oh, fantastic. So you might have seen chudis and then kadas on the top of it. I would term retailer as the lower kada and our developer partner as the upper kada there. So there are two lines which a poet said, खनक उठती हैं टकरा कर के उनसे चूड़ियां सारी खनक उठती हैं टकरा कर के उनसे चूड़ियां सारी कड़ों से सीखिए रिश्ते निभाने की अदाकारी कड़ों से सीखिए रिश्ते निभाने की अदाकारी. So this adakari, I think you can clap for both the partners.
अंजलि से रिक्वेस्ट है नेक्स्ट टाइम एक ढोलकी लाके रख देगी.
I agree. So now we represent ABFRL, who wants to passionately satisfy the consumer need through various super brands, which spans across various occasions, whether it will be men's apparel, whether it will be fashion, lifestyle, value. So we passionately want to satisfy it through our wonderful brands. We as an ABFRL are present across 26 states of India through 3,500 powerful stores which are brand in itself, and we are present through 35,000 point of sale. So that's the family we represent, and we have a wonderful groom who is available with us, which is Vivek. He'll carry on from there. Yeah, Vivek.
Thanks, Tarun. Good evening, everyone. I am Vivek Srivastava. I head business development of Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail. So, as Tarun said, he represents the Pantaloon part of our business, which is Pantaloons, JAYPORE, Marigold. I take care of the brands like Louis Philippe, Van Heusen, Allen Solly, Peter England, American Eagle, Forever 21, Reebok. We also have a play in Bridge to Luxury segment, wherein our flagship format of Bridge to Luxury, The Collective, which most of us are familiar with. We have mono-brand retails like Ted Baker, Fred Perry, Polo Ralph Lauren, and we are also acquiring a few new brands. In terms of our overall space strategy, you could divide it into two parts. First is, how do you look at the mainline brands, which are the Louis Philippe, Van Heusen, Peter England, and Allen Solly. We have, over the last 25 years of our experience, we have very clearly seen that consumers are now not looking for another run-of-the-mill business stores. They are more seeking an experience-driven store where they can talk, consume, and engage the product and not just buy it. With this basic premise, we are looking at stores which are larger than life size. Maybe if I were to give you an example, I'll be opening up a 5,500 square feet store of Louis Philippe in Bombay. We have recently opened about 3,300 square feet store of Louis Philippe in Phoenix, Bangalore. There is a 4,700 square feet of Allen Solly store in Bangalore. And this is not just museums of specific craftsmanship and a lot of products. It has also started delivering results to us. To again give you a very data-driven example, from a 1,300 square feet of Louis Philippe in Phoenix, Bangalore, we used to do about 40 lakh. The store is currently trading at 1.4 crores. So that's the power of building brands, giving an experiential retail experience to our discerning customers. And we have also very clearly seen this is something which is coming from the consumer. It is not a one-way traffic wherein we are only providing and they are only consuming. This is something which we call as a consumer voice. Same thing we have seen in Collective, wherein we experimented with 5,000 square feet to start with. We went up to 10,000 square feet. When we did the pin code mapping of Collective, we realized there's demand from towns like a Gorakhpur, a Kanpur, or a Raipur also. We have just opened up a pop-up store in Calcutta, in Raipur, doing about 2 lakh a day. It again enforces the thinking that if we have, like, we are sitting with finest set of developers of India, there is a huge market lying in tier 2, tier 3 cities, which are waiting to be consumed. They have money, they have desire, they have aspiration. They are definitely looking for a quality retail destination, and they are consuming brands. It's not that if we are not present, then they are not consuming. It's very clearly visible from entire data set that my consumption, in fact, bridge to luxury consumption is happening in tier 2, tier 3 towns. They are equally aspirational. It's just that are we able to provide the right venue to them or not? Which is what we as Madura Fashion and Lifestyle, a part of Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail, are trying to drive. And we seek your support and partnership in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek. He touched upon one piece, and I should also tell you where exactly the future also lies. We have also invested into Tomorrow, which is a D2C company. And if you look at one brand which is consistent to India's journey of retail, which started from retail 1.0 from 1990, and today we are in 2022, it will run till 2030, wherein we, from 2020 to 2030 journey, is going to see $650 billion increase in retail, and that's not ABFRL is saying, that's what McKinsey and that's what NASSCOM is saying. So we are in the golden era wherein India is meeting Bharat and Bharat is aspiring for India. And in this beautiful journey, there is an eligible bachelor. There are almost 20 eligible bachelor from the stable of Aditya Birla Group. And we request, please let us know how we can become eligible for the marriage. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Arun. Thanks, Vivek. One question from my side. Now, when in this whole story and the revenues that you guys build, your portfolio is probably one of the widest in the apparel business. How is it segmented right now for you guys in terms of value, mid-segment to premium? And what percentage of that is online at this point?
So we are fairly widely distributed company. If you look at the entire value chain of our brands, we start with a brand called Peter England, which is one of the most loved brand in that affordable fashion segment. We touch the pinnacle of luxury, if I may say, with Ralph Lauren, where an average purple line will cost you about 2 lakh and ends at about 10 lakh. So that's the spectrum what we are operating on. In the mid-premium segment, we have our mainline brands like Louis Philippe, Van Heusen, and Allen Solly. We have a very lovely brand called Forever 21, which has seen very strong traction, very strong patronage from our target consumers. You could, ladies especially, you could afford a denim starting from 1500 at top from a 400 rupee. But the USP is not another very affordable fashion brand, but it's a brand which has got a very high fashion quotient. We have recently acquired Reebok, which again we are trying to reinvent with our marketing strength, with our strength in supply chain and the way we run our distribution business. And when you talk about online business, we are again fairly widely distributed across all the online platforms. One thing which we can proudly tell you about Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail is, for us, whether it is offline or online, the driver is and never be discount. We are driving convenience to a consumer. We are saying here is the broad range of product for you under one roof, whether it is online or offline. And the pull is design and experience. It's never discount. So if you look at it from FY20, my average discount was about 33%. We have brought it down to 21%. And to endorse this fact, Louis Philippe alone in the month of July has grown by 66% like to like from 2019. Van Heusen has grown by almost 50%. So it endorses the fact that your consumer doesn't look for discount. We flush and we actually force them to consume discount. This is what we have realized.
That's great.
Hello? Yeah.
Ali?
Yeah. Vivek, yeah, I have a question here. Just if you analyze what you just said, that in Phoenix, Bangalore, you had a 1,300 square feet store, you were doing 40 lakhs. You increased it to 3,500 square feet store and you started doing 1.2 crores. What I understand from here is, this is the old school, that increase in sale can happen only through increase in size. So it's the supply chain problem here. So you need to have stocks to be able to sell more. I think that is where we are not able to fill the gap which technology can bring, where in a 1,300 square feet store, you plan and you design a store which can actually do 1 crore with the help of technology.
You're bang on. So if you were to look at our omni-channel efforts over last 10 years, I was just mentioning to somebody outside, we had something called All India One Stock, wherein way back in 2012 when I was a retail operations professional, I hadn't ventured into BD. If you were to buy something from Phoenix, Bangalore, it is not available. My system was well equipped to take you that whatever is available at Baneree Road also. And we can bring you in 3 hours flat. That was the beauty of having a tight store and running a very smart inventory management program. With larger size, it is not only the stock issue, it is also the experience issue. If you were to look at any Louis Philippe and Van Heusen store, I am adequately stocked in terms of shirts, trousers, suits and blazers, accessories. We have recently launched a brand called Maharaja in the ethnic wear. We have a very premium casual brand called Louis. Now to effectively demonstrate all these categories, you need space. Today's consumer is very demanding, even us, we are consumers. We do not want to see only 10 shirts, 20 shirts, 50 shirts and be done with it. We want to see range, we want to have very engaging conversation with our sales consultant and get an experience out of it. You don't buy Louis Philippe, you buy an experience, which is what we want to drive from space, and we will very well integrate with omnichannel also. You can today buy online and pick up from my store and do the reverse also. This is how we are integrating space as well as the technology bit.
Another part which I want to show you right on this stage, which you specifically said, which we do the SKU mapping with the space which is required. Currently, Tarun Vashistha is in front of you. This is my Louis Philippe shoes. This is my Louis belt. This is my Louis Philippe blazer, the entire set. This is my t-shirt. And in the interest of privacy, I'm not explaining further. But this is what you require. And for selling the stuff for marriages, especially the suits and blazer, you need space, you need time, and you need exclusive people. Hence, it is not only directly proportional to the size which you take, it is how well you are represented across there. Like the classical example of Pantaloons, wherein if you want to represent yourself, there is a specific size set which you need to capture, and across the SKU mapping, across the verticals which we have defined our sweet spots. And obviously when we talked about future is not only going to be on obviously the product and the content, it is going to be the experience as well. And we are also facing the similar, staying relevant for the future. That's the fight which we are doing and which we are on, Ali. I hope somewhat we have explained.
Thanks, Tarun. One more question for you guys. When you're expanding right now, what is the mix that you're looking at from high street to malls, or is that neutral at this stage?
So if you look at India has currently 798 malls. Okay, out of that 120 are successful in the successful category, and future pipelines are not that huge. And hence, that's the reason we are requesting to the developing partner in the smaller city, where I said from Project Bharat, there is an aspiring India which wants to reach to Bharat. And obviously, the large center or the small center, whatever is would be the requirement of the city. Currently, it is 60-40, 60% high street and 40% is mall, because across India, there are 1,798 markets. And out of that, almost we are present in 1,200 out of it. Malls, 798, 120 successful. 300 are just breathing their last breath, so we are not present in all of them. So that's the explanation. India, 1798 market in totality, mall 798, and the success metrics I've already explained.
Vimal, one.
Please.
See, we all have been in this retail for long. We've gone through this experience of retailers doing big stores in 2005, then making it small in 2008. Again coming back and saying average sizes, and again coming back to the whole wheel and saying big stores. Now that we know, and there was a discussion last time that retailers are going to make stores for experience and business is going to happen online. And that was something what was a clear perspective getting in the last conference. Now that metaverse is on our doorstep, and experience can be amazing through magic mirrors and all. Are you thinking that, again, it will go to small stores if that's possible through metaverse?
Beautiful question, Vivek, should I? These, if you remember, all of us, not all of us, at least I was not there, but you are veteran in the industry. 2007 and 8, we all were talking about e-commerce. Then came online. Then came the omni experience. All these factors play a multiplier effect. I'll give you one anecdotal example, 77% of the sales remains in the cart. And that's what all these studies are saying. Now, all these metaverse, which is going to be the next future, and there is a sustainability after that. And it is nearly three and a half years away. So metaverse is again going to become a force multiplier, because currently our competition is not only the other brands who are sitting here, they are complementing the mobile which is in your hand, because time is the most expensive currency in this world now. Because we have heard time was money, but it is the most expensive currency. We have to fight against all the options which is available. Now, by doing that metaverse, can we create through that VR and augmented reality, can they decide about their purchase, come to the store, and then get the experience out of it? Do we have the answer to all the questions? Right now, the answer to that piece is no, but we have seen similar challenges. Together, we have seen similar challenges. And I'm sure this multiplying factor is going to increase this retail consumption, which I just told you from 2020 to 2030, it is $650 billion which will get in. And similar problem will also come because malls are also going to become an experience center. So I think that's a fight which together, which I explained, both Kangans will fight with rest of the other world, and we remain together.
So Shivu, just to add what Tarun said, we have already started experimenting with Metaverse World. 2 of our brands have already entered into this. We have already created avatars, and there is a nascent stage of Metaverse transformation which is happening. In fact, you'll be very delighted to know that the brand is Peter England, where we have started experimenting with Metaverse. And it's slowly going upwards with all the categories. It'll go all the way till our bridge to luxury segment also.
Thanks. Thanks, guys. I'm going to move on from you guys now. I think we've taken a lot in the interest of time, but thank you for all the answers. Why don't we invite Jivika on to come on and talk about Aste.
Hi, guys. Okay, it's working. My name is Jivika. I represent the brand Aste. For all of you who don't get the name, it's the Hindi word Aste. Aste Aste Chalo, which means take it easy. So we are a sustainable, size-inclusive, activewear brand for women. And we're completely D2C. So I'm here to find some answers myself and understand why, when we are like negative and I'm easily acquiring the customers with no overheads and growing exponentially, why should we go in the stores? Because we're really trying to understand the value add. Also, what we want to go big on is these experience zones that you all are talking about. And we think that's the present and the future. So really here to answer this question for ourselves, and I guess if other people have similar concerns, that why should we come offline? I understand the omni-channel approach, and that's what we are also aiming for. One question that I can answer is that our clothes are phenomenal. They're completely sustainable. So we would want our customers to come and experience it, wear it, understand the value add in them. But what else in terms of the financials, in terms of the expansion plan? Why should we go inside stores?
Great.
Jivika, what is your market spend to the top line on social media or internet?
Nothing right now, honestly.
Then you're blessed.
I could give you big numbers, but I am unit positive at this moment.
So I don't know if you account it in a heading called customer acquisition cost. So
Of course. So that's what I'm saying. I'm CAC negative right now.
lovely. So then you should continue what you're doing. and once you earn enough to bun with us, we will welcome you.
So we are well funded. I think earning is not the issue here. It's the value add that the stores will get.
If your wallet is full enough to burn money, we are here.
I'm
We
saying,
will help
yeah,
you
that's
out.
my question. We have money. Where should we spend it?
Spend on growth, and if real estate features as channel to your growth, there will be opportunities. Most of the brands that I have interacted and experienced, they are spending anything between 27 to 38% of their top line in fueling the marketing spend. On a real estate, cost is anything between 15 to 18% of your top line. And that
How
makes
do
it
you really remarket in real estate? Is the question we've been trying to answer. While online we can remarket to the same customers, this is the biggest question. I think,
I think
you all are talking about metaverse, so I would like to understand that as well.
So if you talk to any other retailer, any store would have 38 to 45, 46% repeat clientele. And whenever they have new range, they will call their database, they will call the stores back. So it's a conventional way of retargeting, but the repeat customer for the same store is a very high percentage. And I think it may not be very different from your online repeat customer. In your way of business, you are only accustomed to retarget the customer you can identify. In other side of business, you don't care who the customer is. As long as he is on the floor and you are able to serve the product, you get business. The internet is a very, very clustered space. You at some stage, to grow beyond certain level, will have to burn money.
Wouldn't you say the same about the malls? There's an entire floor dedicated to sportswear. Right? It's so segregated that when a customer comes in, they're looking at Adidas, they're looking at Reebok, they're looking at Nike, Puma, etc. And they're confused. It is equally crowded, and it's one of them that is going to get the catch. While on internet, I could reposition and remarket to the same customer who's gone to 10 different stores, capture the cookie, and show them the ad again, right? So I think it's a win-win on both ends. I see the value add, but we're just trying to make sort of financial sense to understand why the next step is the stores.
So as you said, if your customer acquisition cost is 0 or minus, you should just do what you're doing. Because
I agree with Rajneesh. I mean, to start with, I'd like to say that when you're ready, we can talk. I mean, definitely, that's the way I did it. Because this question has been answered over centuries, why you need a store of offline presence. But let me try and give a different approach in the larger interest of the audience. Shopping is impulsive, it's not planned. And as far as what we are seeing in our malls, the conversion rates are 10%. So the number of people that come and the number of people that buy something, I'm keeping food out. So in this kind of a thought process where people are looking for something, they are looking for an escape. I mean, you have an office, you have a home, so malls take the third place. So at times, they don't even know why they're going there. It could be for a movie, it could be for no reason. So in that kind of an environment is where, you have an exposure, where customer is surprised by seeing something. Second is, there is a limitation. The amount of money that retailers are putting in doing up stores is phenomenal. The technology they are using, it is the wow that is getting created. And some of the stores that are happening even in India, not just abroad, is on par with the best stores anywhere in the world. So that exposure, what it does, because a human being processes everything with 5 senses. I mean, you can't just use your eyes. So once you're in your store, all your 5 senses get activated. You see, you touch, you hear, you smell. I mean, all of that works and a brand is created. You sit in a BMW car in a showroom, all your 5 senses are activated. You experience it as a wholesome. I mean, digitally, you can never compete. It can never happen. So you have to actually sit in the car to really spend that 75 lakhs. And you have to feel it, and there cannot be any explanation. Any amount of words or any amount of books cannot give you that answer. So that experience at that moment, when you're not even planning for it, thinking about it, activating all the 5 senses, is the mall experience.
So is metaverse, right?
It's technology versus real. You can call it any name, but it's technology versus reality.
I think a beautiful match would be technology and offline, what you all are talking about, like experience zones, where it's a mix of digital and retail as well. And is there anything that young brands like us can sort of partner on with malls, with real estate companies to get our brands out there at a smaller cost, at a smaller, let's say, square feet, and build those micro experience zones where the customer comes and gets a mix of online and offline?
So I think you should take a cue from some of the brands who have gone from digital to brick and mortar.
Right.
And one of the larger names being Nykaa. And you see the turnovers that they're doing in the brick and mortar store after what they've done in the digital space. I think they must be trading the highest SSPD compared to any other category or brand. So the advantage with the D2C brand then becomes that they know the consumer already, they know the catchment already, and they know where to open the store. Because you already have that data on where your maximum customer is coming from. So if you take a cue from what other D2C brands have done, you will get an idea how much it has helped them to do brick and mortar. On your second part, on smaller stores, D2C, again with the data that you have, you can easily do pop-up stores. And malls today have enough space for doing pop-up stores. In fact, we want to experiment with newer brands where we can create more offering for a customer coming in on a monthly basis also, or on a biannual basis, because rest of our leases are all locked in for 3 to 5 or 6 years or 9 years. But we are always looking forward to brands who can come and give an experience on a temporary basis, even if it means 30 days to 6 months. A great experiment for you to do. And the moment you start doing that, you will realize
Is that revenue share?
It's a lot of times on revenue share, and even if it is an MG, it's not something that's going to burn a hole. Now that you say that you have enough money in your pocket, I think that should not be a concern. So, but if you put that into marketing cost, it doesn't make a difference any which ways. But I think that is something that you should consider before jumping into a full-fledged brick and mortar strategy. A pop-up could be a good way in larger or smaller centers where you already have data on your existing customers.
That's a beautiful solution. Thank you so much.
I think, Jivika, the brand name is Asta, but what speed you want to carry for your business growth is up to you. You want to go Asta, or you want to really jump forward and do big numbers immediately?
Thank you so much.
In India, quality space for any consumer is not available. And that is what mall developers provide. 70% of our customers are regular customers, and brands are created there. I'm sure all the other words are told you why you should be there.
I think this last one I absolutely resonate with. That gives us the answer.
Thank you guys. I think that's a good solution. But you know, the touch and feel aspect of retail, you can't replicate online. I firmly believe that. That's why I'm in this business. But moving from Jivika, let's go to Deepthi, who's already moved from D2C to having omni-channel as well as retail stores now. Yeah. Please. Deepthi from Salt Attire.
Stand up.
Please. Either ways, whatever is comfortable.
So hi, good afternoon everyone. I'm Deepthi and I'm the founder of Salt Attire. So who are we? We are a formal wear business casuals brand, and we do the entire gamut of from your formal wear to semi-formals. And we would lie somewhere around that and the premium price point. So we started off primarily as a D2C brand, a digital to consumer brand, but we started our retail journey last year. And we have 3 stores now. We opened 1 store last year in Gurgaon, which was like a pilot store. And we have 2 in Mumbai now, 1 at Phoenix Palladium and 1 at Infinity Malad. And over the next 1 year, we plan to open another 5 to 6 stores at least. And 2 important things that we are looking for in a mall is one, the positioning of the mall. Since we position ourselves as a premium brand, those are the kind of malls that we want to target. And of course, the store location. Anything between a 600 to 850 square foot is good for us. So our USP is made to measure and tailor-made clothing. So we do offer standard sizes as well as customizations and tailor-made sizes. And yeah, we are your India story. We do everything out of India. We design, manufacture, everything happens in Gurgaon. And so digitally first, but I would also like to say we are a customer first brand. Like we are very close to the customer. We understand her pain points, needs. We build products across customer personas that we have down to the T. And yeah, we are a young and hungry team waiting to grow internationally as well, if given an opportunity. And that's it. Looking for your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
Any questions?
So what is the kind of turnaround you have for your stock, as in how many seasons or design styles you bring in, and what is the turnaround for the inventory in your stores?
Right. So we don't do any your summer, fall, winter. We don't work in that fashion. So first of all, we have your regular noose. That's something that's never out of style. And even within that, we have our essentials, which is your certain kinds of styles of pants, blazers. They will never be out of style, tops. So that we always have. In fact, we keep adding colors in those. And then and that's the essential part. And then we have some more noose that we keep adding. So about every 6 to 8 weeks, we keep replenishing stock. And in fact, the thing is now, since we were online all this while, right? So when you're online, you have the liberty of having a very wide catalog. You may not even need to hold inventory for everything. A lot of it can be made to order. Now the challenge with offline is having an inventory. And what should you make, what should you not? So honestly, when we started the store, we went with the approach that we tried to make a range of things with a leaner size set to see what's sticking, what's not. And now we kind of we know what works. So we're just doubling up on that.
You mentioned you are a premium brand. So what price range you play in? What is your entry points? What are your average?
No, so I would say premium, mass, premium and that. So we have our tops will be under 2K. So like 1800, that sort of a price. And we go up to 4500, 4700, yeah. So 2500 would be our ASP.
In this particular category, we've seen sales go up and down a lot seasonally.
Okay.
So do you have something in mind, especially for the north side of the country? Season hota hai to upar jata hai, varna bahut niche aa jata hai, which just completely screws the average across the year. Do you have something to counter that?
So it depends. So we have experienced this online as well in terms of buying behavior. In fact, like just pre-COVID, around summer, the shopping was great because also travel was great for some reason. So I know now Indian wear, like around the festive season, Indian wear may sell more and we may suffer. So to counter that, we have things like, so we introduce a festive collection. Now our festive collection is now very specific. It's somewhere between, it's not a completely Western thing, it's not completely Indian, but we use Indian fabrics and make those kind of silhouettes. So we do keep introducing enough items through the season so that there is a push for every month and through the season, yeah.
Aditya, how are you looking to expand going forward on the physical side? Any thoughts that you already have?
In terms of?
Store expansions.
Yeah, so the cities that we are looking at are Bangalore, rest of Mumbai, Pune, and Hyderabad. And we've got a lot of demand from like internationally as well as Dubai, Singapore, these places as well. So yeah, these are the cities we would like to venture into.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much, Deepthi.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Why don't we move to Indraneel next? I think it's on, Indraneel.
Hi, good evening. My name is Indraneel. I head the business development for Wow Momo. A brand from Calcutta. We started our journey 12 hours back from a small kiosk, a shop-in-shop format. Today, 475 plus stores, would be celebrating our 500th store very shortly. So currently we have 3 brands. Along with Wow Momo, we have a Wow China, which we started in 2019, have more than 100 outlets now, pan-India. We started a new brand, Wow Chicken, this January onwards. Have got 18 stores now, doing fabulously well for us. The journey has been great now, from Calcutta to across 22 cities in the country. This year, the expansion plan is like having 250 outlets across the country with addition of a lot of new cities. Like we are entering Indore with Phoenix and Nexus. We are doing Ahmedabad, we have signed up with Palladium as well. We are entering Udaipur with again the new mall and as well as celebrations. We are doing rest of Bengal like Siliguri and all. We are entering Guwahati very shortly by the end of this year. We are signed up with Ambuja in Patna and we are launching with them. So yes, the product for Wow Momo, I would say the people have loved the product. Over these 12 years, we have really grown. We are there with all the kind of formats like kiosks. we are there in food courts and all the good malls in the country, airports, railway stations, and acceptance as a brand has been really, really great. I'm really grateful to all the developers who had offered us spaces in their malls, and we have been doing fairly well with all the malls in the country. I would expect the same support for the other two brands like Wow China and the Wow Chicken that we have started in. Plan to have another, 500 stores in the next 2 years. Would be seeking support from everybody.
Indranil, you've been opening in last 12 years, 1 store a week. Moving forward, you will be opening 1 store every weekday. I'm counting that you don't work on weekends. That is why it is only 250
yes,
and not 365. How are you handling the operation backend? Because you're going to be spread so wide and thin. What is the ramp up and investment in operations and controls on quality of food?
That's the reason I would say that we, for example, if I talk about East, we were there only in Calcutta, and we have not moved into any other cities like a Patna, what we are doing today, or maybe a rest of Bengal. So once we are there in a new city, we try to be strong in that city, make our operations strong, and then maybe move into another city. So there has been malls, there has been developers who has requested us to come to their cities to open with their malls, but we have not been able to comply with that. So we are taking, that's the reason we do about 3 to 4 new cities in 1 financial year.
Indranil, what I see that you're mostly in food courts, and what happens is in food court you can only control certain experience of a consumer. And what we have seen post-COVID is that consumers are hungry for experience, and restaurants are really doing well. Any thought process to get into that restaurant option?
Yes, we are doing that as well. We are opening a lot of high street outlets along with the malls also. So we are doing bigger stores. In fact, if you talk about Hyderabad, we have taken up 1,200 square feet outlets where we combine both the brands Wow Momo and Wow China, and they're doing really well for us. We have started with another format, which is the bistro, which we say the Wow China bistro, that is Chinese with liquor, which we have opened 2 stores in Calcutta, doing really well, and recently opened with Vegas in Delhi. We are yet to get the liquor license, and I'm sure once we have that, we would be doing fabulously well with them as well. And we are planning to grow in other cities with the bistro format as well.
Explain me one thing on the model. You're working in a food court, so you are handling the kitchen. And everything outside the kitchen is developer's cost, whether it is the seating, the lighting, the air conditioning, the cutlery, crockery, everything is taken care of by us. So you're managing the kitchen. And what I hear from people is that the cost, the rent, 25% or whatever that number is, seems like huge. And then people start asking, why are you charging 25% on a food court? Because whatever services that you are rendering. But tell me how you guys are so comfortable paying 36% to Swiggy.
We don't pay a 36%, first of all. We have a national tie-up with Swiggy and Zomato. Yes, we do have to pay a commission to them. But if you talk about, to answer your question, see, it all depends upon the mall as well, because the footfall, obviously the mall is driving, definitely. But as a brand also, we are driving also a footfall. So that's the reason why we would like to have all the MNCs and everybody in the food court, and not only local brands. So definitely the brand's potential is also there to draw in.
I think, Indranil, what Ali is asking, if you can afford to pay 36% to Swiggy.
That's what I said, I don't pay.
You don't pay.
But I'm sure it's a big number, and it's not a small number, but still.
Ali is saying, what revenue share can we expect? Let me be direct. Why poor us get only 12-14%?
I'll answer to that question separately to him.
Make sure that I'm with you.
Thank you, Indranil. I think we've got the answer. Thanks, Tat, for that one. Moving on, do we go to Devesh from Max? Devesh, please. Devesh is on.
Okay, so here, Devesh, I represent Max here, but as a landmark, if I say, we are present in 16 countries, headquartered at Dubai, and catering every fashion need of customer. So be it branded fashion, upper class, higher class, and bridge to premium if you talk about. It's lifestyle stores, so we do have close to 85 stores across country to cater fashion needs of upper middle class and higher class, rather say. And if you talk about middle class or value fashion segment, we do have Max, 415 stores across country with 181 cities present, and almost 26 states are being covered. Again, we do have a super value fashion segment also, which is called as Easy Buy. We do have 120 stores of Easy Buy across sizes of, let's say, 5 to 6,000, largely present in southern part of the country and a little bit sparingly in east part of the country. And to cater home furnishing needs, we do have home centers, close to 70 home centers serving those needs. So if I talk about as a retail partner to developers, we believe in delivering our commitments to customers, both internal, externals, and business partners. That is our basic feel. If I talk about our hunger to expand, it is huge, humongous. And this year also, if I talk about, it's around about 2 to 3 stores averaging opening per week. This financial year also. So that's a huge task, and coming year is planned even more. So before you ask any question, one question for all premium developers available here. Our biggest problem in expansion is availability of a good development. In not tier 2, tier 3, even in tier 1 stores, it is very, very sparingly available. If I talk about bigger cities like Surat, Nagpur, your choice is limited to one good mall, that's all. But lot much opportunity is there, and that's the reason we are bound to go with the standalone stores. And trust me, being in mall with a good developer becomes much more comfortable for us rather than being standalone, where you do have some 30 investors coming to you every time for anything and everything. So that is a big question. You all need to expand yourself also, reaching to at least tier 1s, cover tier 1s, at least 2, 3 good options to the customers to roam around, to spend their weekend. That is something what I want to say to all of you.
Devesh, is a very good point that you brought up, and it was a question that I wanted to ask all you guys, actually, all the retailers here in the end, was which are the markets that you guys think these guys should be expanding into? You should highlight that, because for them to start looking at expansions, I think they need to know where you are comfortable and where you want them to be.
I am willing to have them in every tier 2 towns also. May not be a 10 lakh square feet development or 5 lakh square feet of development, but at least a well-organized, established developer present in tier 2, where I am assured that even after 2 years' time, all services will be as good as it was at the time of opening. There will not be any concern on the customer experience inside the mall. It's in the safe hand. It's not going to be sold out to anybody and everybody, and then you don't have any control in coming times. So this is the biggest issue that needs to be resolved by you all there.
The day developers, retailers stop signing the malls which are being sold, you will only get quality retail spaces. The problem is you are still signing in malls which are being sold. So stop signing and you will only get quality retail spaces.
So 2 things here, Abhishek. I appreciate your point here, but the only issue is hunger and need to expand is much more than the availability of a space.
You can't have a short-term view for a long-term game.
So 2 things only. One, I may wait, let competition expand and grab the market share, or I should go ahead with the what is best available in that scenario.
We are talking about industry at large. I'm not talking about Max. I'm saying industry, retail industry at large has to recognize, you do understand the meaning of a leasehold center which is being controlled by one developer. You just explained that. So the day the fraternity understands and says, Bikawa mall hai, main isme sign nahi karne wala, you will see only quality retail spaces, because the land cost will allow developers to do more acquisitions and build more shopping centers at reasonable cost and give you at a reasonable cost also. Right now, we have to compete with developers who are going to get 200 square feet shops and sell it at 30,000 rupees a square foot. How do you expect us to buy land? The day it is straightened out, there will be more supply.
That's something which is hardcore reality problem what you had explained right now. But for a retailer who wants to develop, who wants to reach a turnover, I'm planning myself to reach to a certain level of turnover in another 2 years' time. And my space, it's not much available. For a developed retailer who is already sitting at 415 plus retail outlets across country, after let's say 200, 300 outlets, my limitation comes that first 20 cities are not enough. I need to move towards the tier 2s and tier 3s.
There's one more.
Then it's a limitation.
There's one more aspect here which we have to address again to all retailers, is the lead time to acquire a property, develop the property, 4 years, approvals, you sit on those, you pay the interest cost for a period of 4 years because you start investing the day you acquire. And the lead time to recover through rents, again, is a long wait. It takes about 8 years, 9 years. By the time you have to renovate. So everybody has their own problems. Now, the reason why there aren't as many malls in India as there are elsewhere is you guys go and pay higher rents on a high street and negotiate with malls. That is one problem. Second problem, you open a store in the mall and then on the other side of the road, you open a standalone store. All you guys do that. So what's happening is the throughput that has to come from revenue share, the so-called revenue share where you guys say, we are partners. You know, we do more, you get more, so allow us. But then how will it happen if you open 4 stores in 1 kilometer radius? You have taken away the business, you have taken away the opportunity. Very quietly, one more store comes up on the left, one more store comes on the right, and then you're just going and spoiling. So we worked with CapitaLand for about 5 years, you know. We had a tie-up with them, they took some stakes, and we worked very closely with them. CapitaLand has 120 malls in China, and only they could open about 6-7 malls with us. And then they packed up, they said, this doesn't work here. And most of the retail is happening in malls. There are malls and malls and malls. In fact, we have the lowest retail per capita in terms of the infrastructure in India than anywhere else in the developing countries or developed countries. So this is the problem. So when you say it's a revenue share upside is coming, don't open stores within 2-3 kilometer radius. And then don't start paying more rents to a high street than what you pay to malls. That is a big problem.
So it might be right for a few markets, but I can confirm it, this is not the case in case of bigger metros. If you include rent CAM together, it is going to be either equal or sometime lesser than that also. So a bit of a different view in that sense, and depends market to market. I do agree. I'm not differing your point. But it's a concern of availability of good developer versus expansion need, what is there. So now many are coming up. The Shibu is smiling somewhat. So Lucknow does have a bigger space availability right now. But cities like Nagpur, Surat, or these places, hardly 1 or 2. Even Ahmedabad is coming right now with the proper 2 malls coming up. So that is something what I feel that is the utmost requirement right now. Because this Omni will remain there, it will contribute, online will remain there. We all had come back to the level what we used to have 2019. We are growing right now. And during those 2 pandemic year, even our own online sale has jumped to 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and nobody knows it, at what limit it was going. And everybody was foreseeing it, that this is going to be permanent and you won't be reaching the earlier level anytime. But most of the stores are crossing the last year level and growing in single digit, double digit, depending on the market as such. So that threat is not there. It is very well there. Just have a confidence and open in these markets. That's the sentence I'm saying. And we are available with you anytime.
Devesh, the good part is all these 4 developers here are expanding at this stage, and 3 out of them going into tier 2, tier 3 markets. So exactly what you asked for. Tarun, you wanted to ask something or share something?
And Bimal, I'm only expanding in tier 2 cities.
Sorry?
I'm only expanding in tier 2 cities.
There you go.
So I think beautiful question, and all are relevant and absolutely bang on, because as again, I really respect what Ali said. Whenever we go to them, we communicate that we are a partner. But believe me, the growth and the potential, which Devesh has also touched upon, and I would seek some time with each one of you. We have invested huge amount in data analytics and artificial intelligence. As an organization, we are on the first step of digital transformation. That means we are on a digitization phase. We will move to the digitalization phase and then digital transformation. That itself states, if you break India into the pyramid, 11 mega cities are there. Then after that, 10 to 40 lakhs, there are 44 cities. And after that, 5 to 10, there are 47 cities. If you look at the potential of these cities per capita and the type of consumers who lives in their parity, I think there is a huge scope in India. And obviously, you guys are master into that. To answer to Abhishek's question, and we keep on debating this part, the day when it will come that we will stop signing strata malls or sold model, there is an answer lies in your question, which I stated. 7 out of 798 malls where the investment has gone in, 120 are in the success metrics, and all the successful partners or the developing partners are sitting here, and hence the answer lies there, and we want to stay there. But yes, the hunger, as he talks about, we will find out a solution together. We'll come with each one of you and we'll find a right solution for that.
Thanks, Arun.
Vimal, sorry, just one point, and Ali brought up a very, very interesting and sensitive point here, so I had to revert back on this. So I can tell you this much, Ali, that while we do plan to open many more stores, given the targets that each of us have, and we haven't discussed this before, but if a store doesn't work, be it in a mall or a high street, trust me, along with the operations guys, it is this bunch of people who are questioned as well, right? So there is no reason why we will go and open a second or a third store within a 1 or 2 kilometer radius unless and until there is a potential of it. And point number 2, I'm sure you've heard of this whole concept called fortressing, right? And Akash here will tell you what fortressing means for Domino's, and I can tell you from my Yum days what fortressing means. Only once a store hits ceiling and we see that there is a potential of opening a second or a third store, do we go and fortress that store, right? So if a Domino's store has a 8-minute drive time, they will cut it and have one more store in that same place, have a 4 and 4-minute drive time, similar with any other retailer, right? So we are totally aware of what you're saying, and trust me, enough and more thought process and data goes into opening that second or a third store, right? And just not for the heck of it, and not to pay the revenue share that what we've agreed with malls. So that's the point I wanted to make here.
Thanks, Yadav. Moving on, in interest of time, we'll go on to Preeti.
Hi, this is Preeti, and I had retail footprint expansion for Raymond. This is a brand which doesn't really need any introduction. It carries its own legacy, heritage, and quality. I think we have a caricature of a very wide range of categories, starting from, say, casual, price-sensitive, which is Parks, Park Avenue and RPA, which sits in a formal category as a mass and a premium. Also that, we have made to measure, which is actually a bespoke tailoring. If you talk about, I think suiting, shorting, probably we're the only brand which is top of the mind of anybody's, brand recall, if you say. We categorize, or probably we cater to, people from 18 years of age, maybe to 50 plus, from the mass to luxury. That's the formats, Raymond has. And I think we've been dressing up men ever since 90 years, and our one brand or the other must have touched the wardrobe of every man at some stage of their life. That's the legacy the brand holds. With all this change in casual shifts and ethnics and all that. So ethnics actually as a brand is our new entrant. Having the kind of distribution strength we have, we have almost like a 10,000 plus touch points when it comes to distribution. It was very easy for us to scale it up to a different level. But how we are looking at is that where we are aggressive, but yet we're still looking at a very measured way. We are trying to offer a customer the product in a very distinctive, way and with a very sharp price point. So it's not about the bling and the mass, it's about probably the elegance and style. That's probably what we are catering to. We have almost like 150 store opening plan for ethnics alone, put over pan-India, North being the first choice for obvious reasons because being flamboyant, and I think North spends the most when it comes to wedding. Followed by South and maybe West and East, that's the expansion plan. The store sizes which we look at is something between an 1100 to going up to like a 2,400 or maybe a 3,000 square feet. Unlike a couple of stores we're doing is flagships, like our very latest store was Karol Bagh, which we opened in the heart of, I think, the most important and relevant wedding market of Delhi. Beautiful, the VM factors are very different, very distinct, very relatable to the Indian heritage and Delhi as it belongs to. We've done something like 4,000 square feet in Garyahat. So there'll be a couple of flagships like this, but ideally your store size would be something between 1,500 to a 2,000 odd square feet. The kind of exposure, the kind of experience, the gravitage and the grandness these kind of category requires, the focus is high streets. But yes, we're looking for certain malls as well. So since we have a mall fraternity, my question is that, what we face as a challenge in an ethnics particularly range is that, there's a very standard way to put your signages, some standard way to, probably showcase your store. So what we're looking at is that, how we can actually do something different so that the store and this category could carry a gravitage, which usually we are able to succeed in a high street, having vertical signages or probably doing whatever we have to. So that's one point I think that we should look and think differently for this particular category or a zone. That's what my question is.
I thought we are going to ask questions.
I remember in the beginning of session you said this is one Shararati Bacha, so here it comes.
So what you are asking us to do is that you open one store in Karol Bagh and you want to have a gantry right in the beginning of the Karol Bagh. That doesn't work. If Karol Bagh market allows you to do that, we also will allow you to do that. You get a store and you put your merchandise and VM and signages on that store. Now, Karol Bagh, I don't know how many people will be able to park in front of your store and have the safety that their BMW and bigger cars will not get scratched. At least you have that comfort in the malls. So there is an environment in which you are, and you have to conform to that environment. Which brands you are largely looking at expanding other than ethnics this time?
See, definitely last 2 years has been challenging and everybody had held back a bit. So there is expansion in every brand. But yeah, primarily ethnics is the focus. That's where the focus is.
How many stores you have of ethnics right now and how is their performance in terms of?
So we'll be exiting this H1 with 50 and we want to exit to this financial year with 150 stores.
Any other questions for you guys? And you said mostly high street focused and very little on...
Bimal, you can see Amitabh has come and sit here, so we are rationed on our questions.
No, Amitabh has already given me a time slot. But what percentage is malls that you said that you're looking at right now?
Sorry?
What percentage of your new
It would be
stores?
something like a 65-35, honestly. That's how it is. I mean, high streets, it's certainly a focus. Yeah.
Preeti, what happens is what malls normally provide is an experience. And when we design the mall, we have this statement which comes from our interiors that it has to gel with the eyes of the consumers. The consumers always complain to us too many of these lightings and too many of these LEDs create a mesmerizing fact that consumers actually don't see many things. Every retailer wants to do a LED on the storefront and every retailer wants to do a signage and a different thing. It actually doesn't work because eyes play a very important role. Kids look down, elders look down, kids look up, and nothing gets visible. Even sometimes they say that we're not able to see your wayfinding signages. So there's those factors which the malls have. That's the reason malls come with these guidelines, because obviously the people who design, people who understand the mindset, they have clearly understood that. And I'm sure every retailer will respect that, because that's something which we had a conversation on. Why do these, good storefronts happens in Dubai and why it doesn't happen in a mall in India? Because retailers actually come with so many other things they say we spend 5,000 rupees per square feet and they do storefronts which are not good. So the storefronts of retailers, I mean, many of things are compromised and the malls are also pressured to compromise into it. And then, so I'm sure that, that's a play. But the fact remains is that the consumers have very clearly, they have a reason. Yeah, if they get disturbed in their whole eyesight, they will not spend time in the mall.
I have one more point, Preeti. Been observing Raymond's since we were teenagers and so on and so forth. See, you guys have a USP, which Louis Philippe doesn't have, or Alan Solly doesn't have, nobody has. And you guys started off very well, and that is bespoke. Yeah? Now what happened was that you guys wanted to do it the easy way, so you started inventing parks and Park Avenue to compete with the Louis Philippe and Van Heusen of the world. And according to me, that isn't working as good as a Louis Philippe and Van Heusen is working, you know, in terms of the throughput. I think this is something Raymond should see, because if you see your high street stores, the Karol Bagh store or Jayanagar, Bangalore store, 60–70% of the revenue will come from bespoke tailoring. Yeah? So when your store, you say, is doing 1 crore a month, 60–70 lakhs is coming, and you have suit lengths going up to 1 lakh rupees. That's a different clientele. Now, what's happening is when you come to malls, you say that bespoke collection, that high yarn count woolen suit fabric for 1 lakh, that is not for malls. That we will keep it in high street because it won't work. You have already decided. And then you're saying, okay, what works in mall is a Louis Philippe Van Heusen Arrow competition. So we will put a Parks. Now you have invented RR. So ready to wear. So I think your USP, what nobody else will ever get into, you have a blue ocean here. You have a blue ocean strategy here where nobody is competing with you. And if you really tie the knots correctly and invent and do a concept around bespoke, I think you will have an edge.
So I think made to measure was the answer to what you're saying, and we are planning to scale that up as well. So made to measure is certainly something that, you know, the focus is that we want to open more stores. We initially started by having standalone made to measure. In between, we started, you know, plugging them in between the RTW stores. But I think we've gone back to realize that they work better as standalone, because that's a different category altogether, and certainly there's no competition there. Yeah.
Perfect. I think the made-to-measure format is excellent. I've been a customer all along, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Because nobody else offers my size, unfortunately. But moving on, why don't we go on to Abhishek first? Please.
Hi everyone, my name is Abhishek Maria. I represent INOX Leisure Limited. We are one of the leading cinema chains in the country, and currently we are operating 702 screens across 73 cities in 164 locations. As a cinema chain, you know, we are evolving every year. In terms of formats for the cinemas, we are coming up with new formats like IMAX, MX4D. So these are all experiential formats that gives the consumer a lot of choice when they plan a visit to a cinema. And as a entertainment retailer, we are in a very unique position because we provide almost 3 to 4 new titles every week for the consumer to come to the malls and the cinemas again and again, which doesn't happen with every other retailer. And in terms of our experience with the mall developers, they are also looking forward for us to do multiple formats under their cinema space, so you know they can offer more experience to the consumer and more choices in terms of the content. So, and especially when we talk about malls, you know, we are the first ones to be a part of the discussion with the developers, where we define the areas and the column positioning and everything, where we take the lead in designing the mall from day one. And this obviously gives us a lot of confidence from the developer that what they are planning to build. And accordingly, we plan ourselves in terms of our number of screens, number of seats, the formats that we want to do over there. So, And you know, going forward, obviously we want you guys to build bigger, better malls where we can, you know, host most of our formats under one roof. Yeah.
So how many screens are you looking forward to? And in the new formats, how many different formats will be under one roof?
So currently, we obviously are doing formats like Insignia, which is our own wide label luxury cinema format. We have IMAX, we have Big Pix, which is one of our wide label formats for large screens. We have MX 4D. We have ScreenX, which is only available with us in the country, which is a 270-degree experiential format where you can watch the movie across three sides of a hall. So depending on, you know, the kind of mall, the size of the mall you guys are planning, we can obviously stack in more and more screens and the formats at, you know, at the cinema level.
Just want to understand, is it now INOX and PVR, or is it still INOX?
No, it's still INOX. So although we have announced our merger, we are still going through the statutory approvals right now, and we are working as two separate entities. And probably in the future, the brand will be known as PVR INOX once the approvals are done.
And secondly, when the current thing about OTT and all.
Sorry?
But you're still confident to the fact that developers were always confident that OTT is not going to be a disruption for us. Are you still confident?
Yeah, we are confident. I think OTT has its own space, but when people want to, you know, come out of their home and have an wholesome entertainment, cinema is the only place they look forward to go to. Because in India, we don't have theme parks, we don't have recreational activities. So this is one of the only source of wholesome entertainment for the families across the country. So obviously we are pretty confident, and we see a lot of content being produced and exhibited, and this is not going to stop. So cinemas are here to stay for a very long while.
See, there's a gap that we need to cover as far as the multiplexes are concerned. Every time we evaluate, at Prestige, we develop properties across hotels, malls, residential, commercial. So I'm always fighting an internal battle. So we get a piece of land. So I have to give my projection. So I can take the vanilla rentals to some good numbers, yeah. But what happens is, cinema pulls it down. So you guys take the highest amount of space, do the lowest trading density possible, and then pay the lowest rent as well. So this model, there is a gap. The gap is on the weekdays, and the gap is on the weekends where there's not good show, or if something like what happened to Amir Khan's movie, it turns out to be a disaster, and the entire trading density is gone. I think what cinemas need to do is to find something which can fill that gap, where you can earn revenue, because you're sitting with a very large property, 100,000 square feet of air-conditioned space, which is not getting utilized on weekdays, and which is not getting utilized at times when there are no good releases. But we need to fill that gap, and you need to think something very innovatively, which can take, it's good for both of us, but this is the current problem that we face, that it's very, very seasonal, and it's very unpredictable, and that gap on weekdays is something that new has to come.
Look, we have already seen this in our experiences last so many years, that cinema is a very, you know, specifically designed space. So there is no real alternate use of the cinema space. You have to wait for the right movie and the right content to come in. What we are, as I said, formats play a very important role. If you see, a single movie can be played in multiple formats. In a single movie like Spider-Man can be played in 2D, it can be played in 3D, it can play in IMAX, it can play in MX 4D. So that is when the consumer will have a choice to come back to you. But for the space itself, there is really no alternative business strategy that we have.
I'd like to add a point there. Maybe there is. Like, for example, if you're designing an auditorium, if you have a 10,000 square feet screen, if you can design it which can take theater, you know, a play, because that's a different, there's a different cult and people are following that. Or something which can host a live performance, a live music performance, something like a comedy show. So these are still entertainment, but people will come for. Because in India, we have so many cultures. You have these Malayalam artists, and there'll be a fan following. Then you have Carnatic, you have fan following. Only that, it has to be planned a little. We did try in Shantiniketan with Cinepolis. So we have an auditorium, and where we said, can we have a mixed use? So the days when we don't have any theater happening, you can actually run a movie. So this is something which can actually bring. So staying with entertainment, staying with that seating, plays, theater, live music.
It was happening actually in 2001. I was part of a theater, and 2001 when the malls theaters were designed, the law, the cinema rule had to have a theater possible to ensure that the cinemas don't kill the theater groups. But obviously, as 20 years time that has gone. But I think he's absolutely right. And when the movie industry was not there, if theaters and laughter clubs and all can happen, actually the space can be used very well.
Yeah, it has to be planned. So what has happened now, Bimal, is that it's become very easy. They come and renegotiate, and then the problem is solved. So if you want to think out of the box, and if you have a pressure where we don't renegotiate, then they'll think out of the box and find a way of doing theater, find a way, because these artists, they're limited theaters, quality theaters aren't there. So hence, that can actually be a platform.
Ali, I'll give you two answers on that one. One, I think, I don't think cinemas pay less. As some of the developers are leading the benchmarks with the cinema numbers and saying, this is my cinema, now let's talk about the other rentals. So let's start with that. Number two, I think the theater part that you're talking about, that is true. And structurally, the government also in some states, and I wish I can confirm that, asked for these kind of stages to be created in the theaters so that performances could be created in those places. So it's something to look at.
In a way, we are also somehow restricted by the government licenses, where we have to take probably special permissions. So those are also some tedious tasks that we have to go through, because there is a certain set of regulations which we are bound by. But yeah, these things can be explored. But as of now, what we see primarily with so much of content coming in, we prefer that movies should be the prime source of entertainment when you plan for yourself for a cinemas.
We'll move to the last, the best and the tastiest one last. Akash, why don't we come along?
Hi. So while I'm talking in the end, I promise to you, if you order from us, we'll be the first to deliver.
We acknowledge that.
So, I work with a brand which does Khushiyon ki home delivery. I work with a brand when all of you were sitting at home during COVID and we had nothing to do, no hope. Our food soldiers, can we call them food soldiers? They were relentlessly working to make sure that you get your pizza pie. Yeah, we were the only brand in this country which operated on almost every day except for the one day when Janta Curfew was there.
And I think we all say thank you on behalf of our kids for that.
No, so thank you for ordering from Domino's and thank you for making sure that we all stayed in the company, because otherwise there would have been no business. I work with Jubilant Bhartiya Group company. We have Domino's, Dunkin' Donuts, Popeyes, which is our newest baby, which is the second largest fried chicken brand after KFC. And then we have two homegrown brands, Ekdam and Hong's Kitchen. Hong's Kitchen is our Pan-Asian brand. We are a $5 billion company. We are in 7 countries, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Azerbaijan, Russia, Turkey, and Georgia. In India, we have about 1,600 stores. The next in competition is less than half of us, and the other 3 brands put together are equivalent to us. We sell 15 crore pizzas every year. We are dominant #1 in this country with a 60% market share. I don't think any brand in any category in this country commands that market share. Thanks to all of you who keep ordering from Domino's. So thank you from the heart of all the 40,000 employees who keep delivering to you. On the sales numbers, I think last year we did 4,400 crore revenue. We are in about 1,600 cities, stores that I mentioned. The tier 1s, I think that was something that people are talking. 50% of our stores are in tier 1. The balance are in tier 2, 3, 4. There are 3 cities in India where we are more than 100 stores, with Bangalore being more than 160 stores. So that is more than McDonald's in North and East India put together. On the 20-minute delivery thing, I think we are trying to make sure that you get your pizza in 20 minutes, while a lot of essential things take more than 1 hour. Our KRAs are very simple. Either I sell pizza or I help sell Domino's pizza. So 2 kinds of people in our company, either the front-end people who are making pizza and delivering to you, or people like me who help these people sell pizzas to your home. I think on the expansion part, we have about 12 to 13% stores in malls, and we have 200 stores. When I say 12, 13%, looks a very small number, right? But in terms of the absolute number, we are 200 in the malls. They've been a very, very integral part of our growth story. I think the first brand that comes to any developer's mind, and again, thanks to all of you, is Domino's. One of the highest trading densities possibly for any F&B brand. We are in the smallest town possible. We are in 350 cities of India. I think there are only 2 brands, and both in apparel, who have more, new city contribution. We want to make sure that, hygienic pizzas are delivered to every person wherever possible. We have a very different problem to handle. There is more consumption than we are all possibly trying to deliver. And what is happening after COVID advent is that the kiosks are really exploding. And you look at KFC, Pizza Hut, McDonald's, Burger King, Chayo, Starbucks, all of them put together. I think people are really looking forward to having their choice of meal. And as Shibu mentioned, the restaurateurs are also reaping in benefits. People are looking for experience, which could be possibly once a month, and then quality food probably twice. What we've seen after COVID is the frequency of people buying from any of the QSR and not just Domino's has really gone up. So our revenue in the malls have already gone up the roof. We already touched our pre-COVID numbers 3-4 months ago. So I would take a mention of, say, because Shibu is here or Rajnish is here. I think the initial projection that we had during COVID for any malls were about 20-21 lakh. When we opened those stores, we were surprised we did more than 1.5x of what we were committed internally. Yeah, so I think COVID proved, and it really accelerated a lot of things. Very high on technology. We want to be a food tech powerhouse. We use aggregators also to generate orders, but we are the only brand who has the entire delivery fleet with us. We deliver our pizzas globally. We are the largest also in terms of pizza selling across the globe.
Not bad. I know you're already in all these malls.
I wanted to understand, I wanted to ask you about the other brands in the portfolio and what is the expansion plan for them.
Okay, so I'll begin with Popeye, which I started journey from Bangalore, and I think today I'm meeting Ali on a couple of properties. Currently we have about 6 Popeyes properties. We're trying to get to the right locations with the right revenue mix. One, there is no hurry to open stores. The other, we want to make sure that we are unit-wise profitable also. There is a very thin line balance. So Popeye would be one very exciting addition. We are starting with Bangalore. We already are operational there. The initial reviews are pretty good. We're just trying to make sure that we continue to be relevant on the feedback.
Is it a restaurant format you're expanding?
It's a restaurant format right now.
And what is the space requirement?
Okay, so initially the 2-3 flagships that we opened, including Kormangla and all, were about 3,000 square feet. Now we are trying to be between 2,000 to 2,200 square feet at a restaurant format. We are also doing our first food court again with Lulu. That would be about 900 to 950 square feet of carpet area.
From 2,000 now you're doing 150 square feet. Why will
That's
we make
a
a
food
million
court
square
unit.
feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't have a restaurant and a food court. Now stick to space requirement. We make million square feet mall, man.
I think we were the last brand to enter Lulu, Bengaluru, and we were somehow,
And are you doing? Sorry, just pulling your leg. Are you doing anything on Dunkin' Donut or relaunching it? Or?
So yes, so Dunkin' 2.0 globally has been relaunched. It would be okay. By the way, very interesting fact. Dunkin' sells the highest number of coffees across the globe. A very little known fact, we sell more than Starbucks. Of course, our store count is lesser. In India, we're still trying to, get to the real coffee thing of Dunkin'. So my request to all the developers out here would be that, please give us a chance. We are trying to, again, recheck. Abhishek has been kind enough. I think we're doing 2 Dunkins with Abhishek. And in Bangalore, again, we are trying to get Dunkin' back on its feet. And currently, we have about 30 stores of Dunkin' Donut, and we have opened a couple of beautiful stores in Noida, where our corporate office would be. Very good-looking, new, fresh look, heavily focused on coffee and tidbits, which is the core of Dunkin' globally.
I'm sure a lot of developers will
I
be
think
interested
donuts
in
is one market we are also wanting to explore because a lot of consumers want that.
Yeah. I think donut as a category in a country where mithai is so popular, to sell donut is not very, very easy for sure. The other thing, dunk in,
You should meet Tarak Bhattacharya. He sells donut very well, and he never complains about Indian having sweets.
No, I think there is
your
enough.
narration is wrong about Indian sweet palate.
True. No, I think Dunkin' as a donut as a category, because we have mithai in the other countries, people have black coffee. So it's very important for them to have something which is little sweet, and donuts.
Akash, you have me on stage who'll vouch for donuts and black coffee. So, but thank you, Akash. Thank you. Tarun, you wanted to add something in the end, please.
Thank you very much, lovely audience, and thank you very much, Bimal, for managing all this. I must end this beautiful session where nobody has moved from their chair, so thank you very much. I think it's for all of us. We all are either bride or the groom or whatever Swayamvar which we have created. I think there are three words which will stay forever, which we have learned, survival of the fittest. I am adding two more, revival of the fastest and thrival of the finest, both sides. Now, I should also tell, because we are a IT capital of the world, data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. Now we have among us who has the wisdom, wealth, power, diligence, resilience to create a wonderful amalgamation of large malls to you. They are the places of largely cultural amalgamation, and for some of us it is a therapy, because when we go, we enjoy what Ali said, five senses. That's the place we get the bestest of the therapy. Not that therapy I'm talking about only through the spa, but I think that's a need, inherent need which we have. So I thank Abhishek, I thank Ali, I thank Shibu, and I thank Mr. Mahajan, Rajneesh Mahajan ji, for asking so many thought-provoking questions. And to the lovely audience, thank you very much. Have a blessed day and a meaningful day ahead.
I have a question.
Yes, Binu ma'am.
Yeah, so I am so happy to see that there is a hunger for growth. I am so happy to see that you want to expand and you want to have very good properties all across. But I am not able to understand one point is whenever I meet you, you ask for CapEx support. Do you not plan your expansion in your balance sheet with your own CapEx?
Okay, beautiful question. I think I was expecting, I thought it would have come a little earlier on the behalf of the panel. And I think that will end the discussion here. Looks like दोनों ही पक्ष आए हैं तैयारियों के साथ, कुछ गर्दनों के साथ, कुछ आरियों के साथ. So sometimes we are this side or sometimes we are that side. But yes, as I said, survival of the fittest, revival of the fastest, and thrival of the finest. We are finding out. I have also explained we are two kadas. We are managing the chudiyas, so hence, I think in the interest of that, I know Rajneesh will ask very tough questions.
No,
yes.
no, I'm not asking question. I have a suggestion to Amitabh and Anjali. Next time we should have Benu and you together on the stage. We can have a Kavi Smelan.
Yes, that's the reason I answered in her face. Thank you.
Thank you, Tarun. I don't think anybody could have closed this session better. But thank you, audience. Thank you, Amitabh. I think this was a great session. Your brainchild, and I think it was quite good fun. So thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.